Lagom. Lagom is a word that has no direct translation from Swedish to any other language. The closest translation that people have been able to come up with for this is just right. An example of the word lagom, or when it's used, is if a cafeteria person is working and a student comes up and asks for some food. The cafeteria person asks, "How much?" And the student replies, "Lagom." Well, the cafeteria person then has the duty to decide how much that actually is. It's kind of like a teamwork thing. I learned, talking with you guys before, that some of you want to visit Sweden, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that you can expect and find in Sweden. Growing up, I experienced Swedish firsthand when I was an exchange student in Sweden for a year. I lived in a small town called Svalöv. It was in southern Sweden. And I traveled all around Sweden and actually got to go up into the Arctic Circle for a while. So I've experienced many different parts of the culture, and so I'm excited to tell you about it. Today, I'm going to be talking about the biggest cultural aspects of Sweden, and namely, those are language, enculturation, religion, and environment. There are many more, however, these are the ones I'm going to be discussing today. Language is a big part of the Swedish culture. Swedish is the national language. The interesting thing about Sweden is they have 3 letters at the end of their alphabet called Å, Ä, Ö. These letters are unique to the Swedish alphabet, and they make different sounds, which are unique to the Swedish language as well. English is spoken by a majority of the population as well, and there are 5 other minority languages throughout the country. Those are Finnish, Serbo-Croatian, Arabic, Kurdish, and German. According to Paul N. Lewis, 1 in 5 children have roots in other countries. Sweden is a multicultural country, and 15% of the Swedes are born in a different country. Equality is a big part of the culture as well. Usually it is taught at a young age, and everyone is seen as equal in the workplace, school, church, and everyday life. Same-sex couples have been able to adopt since 2003, and they've been able to marry since 2009. Public power is usually exercised with respect of equality and respect for all. The Swedish Institute states that there are no laws discriminating against minorities. There are equal rights and resources for everyone. Now that we have looked at the diverse language and people, let's take a look at how religion impacts. So religion. Sweden is one of the most non-religious countries in the world, but all religions are welcome. The Church of Sweden is Lutheran and has been separated from the state since 2000. This means there is no longer a church of state. Sweden is the only Nordic country without a state church. Sweden is secular. Swedes see no connection between religion and happiness. 29% of Swedes claim to be religious compared to 59% of the world, or the rest of the world. According to the Swedish Institute, Catholicism and the Christian religions are widespread throughout Sweden. Now that we have looked at Sweden's religious beliefs, let's move on to how Sweden views their environment. Nature is held at a high standard in Sweden. Sweden ranks first in the European Union for consumption of organic goods. The Swedish Institute states that the organic food market grows 5 to 7% every year. They are leading in the recycling of cans and bottles, and the government has even set aside 400 million crowns, about $66 million for research and development for environmental technology. 1% of solid waste goes to landfills, and the rest is used to produce heat, electricity, or vehicle fuel. Renewable energy sources makes up about 48% of Swedish energy production. H&M, a big retail store in Sweden, is one of the world's largest users of organic cotton. So Sweden has many interesting and exciting aspects. Their language, enculturation, religion, and environment are all important parts of Sweden. Learning about Swedish culture allows one to see how Sweden views the world. Sweden cares greatly about the many parts of their culture. In the introduction, I noted that some of you wanted to visit Sweden, and I hope the information that I provided you today will help you better understand why Sweden does what it does. My hope is that you have learned more about Swedish culture. It should have been a lagom amount of information. Tack så mycket, which means thank you very much.
Nice job, Stephen.